Hey everyone! Lately I've been experimenting with a little DIY project that you guys might find interesting, so I figured I'd share it with you. What I've got here is my 8x10 Silnylon tarp, and what I'm trying to do is add some pullouts to it to kind of help be able to pitch it in a few more versatile ways. And I'm going to try to do these, as you can see here if I zoom in, without any sewing. They're just going to be bonded on there with some silicone. So anyway, here's a tutorial of how I'm going about this, and then we'll take a look when it's all done how the tarp looks with them and see how it worked out. So let's start out with the materials I'm using here. I've got some Silnylon fabric, some ripstop siliconized nylon. It doesn't have to be siliconized. I'm pretty sure you could do this with just regular ripstop nylon. I've got some Grosgain, which is just a nylon ribbon for reinforcing, pair of scissors, some wax paper, and then a tube of Silnet silicone seam sealer and a little applicator brush, and that's all you need. So the first thing I did is I just took a piece of the nylon and made a circular pattern on it there and cut out 4 circular shaped pieces. For size compared, about the size of my palm, doesn't really matter. And then what I've done is I cut a small slit in it there, and I've got a piece of the Grosgain ribbon bonded to this side, and then makes a little loop right there, so it'll go on the tarp like that and form the pullout. To do the bonding here, I just roughed up the fabric a little bit in the ribbon, put a little bit of the Silnet silicone sealer on it under some wax paper, and then just put some weight on it to make it bond nice and flat. So get yourself 4 of these and then we'll move on. So next I've marked on the tarp where I want it to go, right there in that circle. And what I've done to set up here is I've got the tarp on a table. I've got a cook pot underneath here with a piece of the wax paper. And then I've just got some heavy items like a jug of water, a pot, and a couple of glass jugs to kind of put some tension on this so it stretches the tarp fabric pretty tight over the top of the pot. And now I'm ready to go ahead and bond the pullout that I made. So one other material you'll need, I forgot to mention earlier, is some sandpaper. I'm using some 220 grit. And to prepare the surfaces for the bond, we want to rough up the surfaces that are going to be bonded to get some of the threads to kind of fuzz out so they'll bond in with the silicone a little better. I've already done this half here, you can see right here, and I'll just show you how to hit the rest of it. But you just take your sandpaper, get a hard surface, and you just kind of just draw the sandpaper over it until you can kind of look across the top of the surface and see the little fibers sticking out. So here you can kind of see when that's all done the way the fabric will look. Nice and roughed up, have a few little fibers sticking out on the edge. Don't worry about that, you don't have to trim them off. And now we just have to do the same thing to the tarp. So we'll just do the same thing, same technique with the sandpaper. I'll go ahead and edit this out and come back when I'm all done. So there, I've got that patch all roughed up on the tarp. You can kind of see the discoloration of it there. And now we're ready to go ahead and apply the silicone and get it bonded. So then we just grab our applicator brush or whatever you have handy that you don't mind gunking up with silicone. And just get a good sized glob on there. And then we're just going to go ahead and, oh sorry about the autofocus there. We're just going to go ahead and spread this throughout this whole circle and overlap the edge by about 1/8 of an inch or so. So I'll come back when that's all done. Alright, so I've got that all ready here. Zoom out a little bit here for you. And so then just take our patch here, line it up with the grain, and just kind of, I find it's best if you kind of pinch it this way. Oh, sorry, my hand. Drop it in the middle and then kind of fold the sides out. I'll try to keep my hands out of the way so you can see what's going on here. And then once it's seated where we want it, we just kind of work from the outside, or the inside to the outside, and just push it down nice and smooth so we don't have any air bubbles in there. Try not to get any on our fingers. So there's that, and you can see there's a little ring of excess around the edge here. And the next thing we're going to do is, the final step really, is I'm just going to take, so make sure that that piece of, the patch we put on here something can't get under there and start lifting it up. I like to go ahead and try putting some silicone around the edge and do that all the way around. That'll keep that nice and pressed flat so nothing can get under and start lifting it up. So we'll be back when that's done. Alright, so we're all done with the bonding here. You can see we've got about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch in both directions around the seam. Let me bring you in for a close-up look just so you guys are clear on that. Oops, sorry about that. So yeah, so there, that black line there is the seam going around, and I've just got the silicone dabbed all around it. I was a little sloppy on that one, but I'm going to chalk that one up to your guys' fault, because this is the only one I've been doing on film. So let me dock back up to the tripod here. The last and final step is I've just got a piece of wax paper and something flat, and just lay this on top of it to pin it down, and then we just got to let it cure. So I just take this little tab here, kind of mush it flat, take the wax paper and kind of press it down onto that silicone. You'll see when in just a second here, this actually gives you a nice flat finish on that silicone seam. And set that metal on top, and then find something heavy, in this case a glass bottle of beer, and just let that sit. Well, first we'll go ahead and give it one last look to just, yeah, looks like I don't see any like lifted spots or anything like that. And so there, that's that. We'll come back 24 hours later to see how that one's doing. But since I've already, this is the final one for the tarp, I've got some that are done. Let me show you those real quick. So this is one of the ones I did a couple days ago, all finished up. You can see that wax paper, if I can get the angle on this right, yes, it gives you a nice, flat, semi-professional look on it. I mean, it's a little rough around the edges, but it's totally sealed around so that that seam can't lift up. And doesn't look too bad. From the other side, the other side feels just the same. You don't, you can feel that it was there, but because we haven't really done anything to the fabric itself, it's just a visual thing. So that's that. That's doing the bonded pullouts without any needle and thread necessary. So once the other one we just did is all cured, we'll get the tarp pitched up in the backyard and show you guys how they work out. Alright, so here I got the tarp pitched in the backyard after all the pullouts have cured. I got it pitched A-frame style here. And you can see here on the left side, I don't have the pullouts deployed. If we go over here to the right, I've used my trekking poles here to get these pullouts set up. And you can kind of see that, first of all, they help give you a nice tight pitch there, and they don't mess with your drainage or anything like that, but they give quite a bit of headroom up under here compared to this side over here that doesn't have the pullouts. So let me just give you a quick look at that. So if you were doing, two people sleeping under here, you had one guy this way laying this way and one guy this way, and you do the pullouts on both sides, it just gives you more headroom, plenty of room to sit up under there. In fact, whether you were sleeping or if you were just sitting out a rainstorm, you can kind of see. If I get under here and I sit right under the pullout, my head's barely touching here, there's plenty of room for 4 people comfortably, even 6 or so, if you really had a downpour going. If I switch to the other side, not that it's a big deal, I'm just kind of hunched over like this. Sitting out a rainstorm, it wouldn't be a big deal, but if I'm sleeping this way, And just I sit up and, you know, I could get condensation on my head or something like that. Over here it just gives you plenty of room to lay out, sit up, and you still have the same amount of space underneath the tarp that way. So next let's have a look at those pullouts. Now that I've got, you can see here I've got a fair amount of tension, not a bunch, because they're really not a structural thing. They're more just cosmetically to, you know, just to help with lifting the roof up like that. But if we go in here, there's no real signs of it separating. You see a little bit here, but there's a bit of a breeze going, so it's getting blown around a bit. I'm pretty happy with it. I'll keep you guys posted how they stay performing. Check this other one here. And again, just a tad of that lightness there is where it's separated a bit. It may not have actually bonded all the way. That might not really be a problem, but it seems plenty stout. I mean, if I pull on it, it just tries to pull the tarp further out instead of trying to rip all the way out. So anyway, there's that, showing how the pullouts kind of can augment an A-frame tarp setup. So here I got the tarp in another popular configuration that you see a lot. This is the half pyramid setup. Got it pitched pretty low this time just for comparison. You know, you'd have it like this if it was expecting stormy weather. So I would probably sleep this way. It'd be pretty tight for two people the way the ceiling or the top of it hangs down like that. One guy'd be okay. But next we'll put the pullouts on and we'll see what kind of difference that makes. Just kind of show you, got it staked out on the four corners here, and it is pretty low. So let's get the pullouts on and see what difference we get. Okay, so this time I've got the pullouts on the back corners here, and you can kind of see already how it raises the profile up from just a gentle slope all the way down. Now we've got it pulled away there. So if we were doing two guys, it'd still be a little tight, but like I said, this is pitched more for poor weather, so it's more important to stay dry than to be the most comfortable. But even for one guy, kind of zoomed out there, like, you'd have a lot more room for gear storage and whatnot back in here. Or for your buddy, he probably wouldn't have the tarp hitting him in the face. I'll put them on these corners and show you how that works out just while we're all set up here. Alright, and finally I've got the pullouts on each corner up there to pull it out away from the ridge line. So you can see we still get about the same profile the way it lays this way. We just get more room on either end. This would be a sweet setup here for soloing because I've got plenty of room for my head on that end, my feet on this end, plenty of gear room in the back there. And I would not mind waiting out a storm in that thing, not one bit. You can kind of see this way, plenty of room in there. So anyway, enough of that. I hope that was helpful for you guys. There you have the DIY Silnylon tarp pullouts that are bonded and no sewing machine required. Let me know if anybody has any questions. Like I said, I'll keep you updated as I use this throughout the summer. See how they hold up. Thanks for watching.